friend here, and it's already been, wow, a crazy year. And what we want to do, like we do every year, is let's see what's in the stars. What's in the future for 2025? Well, let's get Colleen, Cosmic Colleen, right now, the hair healer. Booked her for this episode, once again with her yearly predictions. Colleen, thanks for being on the big show once again. And first off, Colleen, we've got drones in New Jersey. We've got fires in LA. What the hell is going on already with 2025?
Well, hey, Joe. I am happy to be on the podcast and happy to deliver. Yes, the world is crazy and it's getting a little bit crazier and it's getting a little bit weirder in today's energy of the astrology. I can tell you that. And beginning, this is a very strong, which I know you don't want to hear it, Mars-like year. And we're beginning 2024 out with a Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer, where Mars works at its opposite. And Pluto is now in Aquarius for good for the next 22 years. And that is definitely bringing in some of that creepy, futuristic energy.
On your podcast, though, you said because Mars is here, we have a feeling of being slow. Well, this year is not starting off slow at all.
I want to say personally it's starting out slow, but it's only going to be a little bit slower, honestly, for a good month or so. And then we are really moving into the Mars energy, and everything is moving into Aries. So I'm going to say by the beginning of March, well into the end of August, things are going to be full speed. And then the second half of the year will get slower again. Now, we have Mars, the planet of, as you know, I feel like we talk about this every year because Mars is the shit stirrer, Mars is the hard bringer of energy, Mars is the severer, the cutter. It also is the god of war. And it rules over burning. So as soon as it retrograded back into Cancer, we see, unfortunately, the fires in LA happening right off of the ocean, and it is due to lack of water.
Wait, can we blame Mars for this lack of water? I thought the moon, drove the tides and all that.
It does. It definitely does. But guess what? Mars is in the moon sign of Cancer.
Do you think there's was an alien race on Mars at one point? Like they keep saying it sometime there was, and it was past Earth. Do you believe any of that?
Well, to be honest with you, yes. But I was just reading and watching this biography about the scientist who believes that we actually maybe were a spawn, a microorganism that came from Mars, and that's how the humans were created.
Cool, wall apart Martian. So also in your recent episode of your podcast, you talked about now is the time to get your to-do list done. Why is it so important to chip away at your personal to-do list right off the top of 2025?
Well, not all beginnings of the new year is like that. I mean, I know that's generally the energy, but this time around we have Mercury at the beginning of the year, not retrograde anymore. It was retrograde in all of December, and we were very scattered. We have Mars now in Capricorn, where Mercury in Capricorn, when you have Mercury, which is the planet of thinking, communicating, writing, in the sign of Capricorn, we get shit done. In Capricorn, Saturn sign, it's about working hard, it's about organizing, it's about aligning our life, it's about doing the right thing, it's about bringing things together and getting your shit in order, not being all over the place and kind of tripping the way it is when Mercury was retrograding in Sagittarius.
I'm going to make a prediction right now. You know what's coming up, what has to happen in April? Tax day.
Tax day? That's it. Wait, why'd you bring up tax day?
Well, I made a prediction for the future in April, coming up April 15th, taxes.
What's happening on tax day?
I don't know. I just know they're due.
It's actually a very, very big astrology month. I actually think it's going to be quite a good month, though. That's also the month of your birthday, right? Or are you the end of March?
Nope, April, beginning of April. You remember. That's right. Yeah.
Of course. You're in Aries, and there's a lot happening in Aries. The big thing about this year is we have 3 outer planets that one of them takes 20 years to move through a sign, one of them takes around 15 years on average to move through a sign, and another one around 7 years on average. And all of them have changed and are changing signs this year, which means it's a very, very big, potent year for the collective.
Wow, it sounds as congested as Grand Central Station. It sounds like things are going to be packed up in the stars.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty packed, but it's a lot of taking action energy this year. To be honest with you, I feel like we've all, even though there's action happening around us, it feels like a lot of us have been sort of lost or sort of waiting in this different energy of whether it's with our career, our life purpose, what we're sort of lost. And I think we have been that way since COVID, but this year is actually the good side to Mars with all these planets moving into Aries and beginning. Aries marks the beginning of the zodiac calendar. There's a lot of taking action when it comes to your career, your life purpose, taking action when it comes to things that you have been putting off for the last year, maybe self-care or self-love, or just reorganizing your life. This is the year that we're actually going to be taking action. And as a whole, we're not going to be so lost. We're sort of going to have a little bit more of a drive as a collective.
So how does that translate to the economy right now? Because basically the economy is a mess. I know we keep saying it since COVID, it's going to get better, it's got to reset. But it feels like it's not resetting for like us common folk, you and I. In fact, that's why McDonald's Big Mac now is pretty much $20 on the turnpike. Like, it's getting out of control. People are getting laid off. Is there anything positive to look forward to financial-wise this year with all these like retrogrades?
Yeah, I think there's going to be, with retrogrades, yes. We can talk about retrogrades, but there's also something else I want to bring out. The retrogrades happening this year, we have 3 of them. Sometimes we have 4, but we have 3 retrogrades. And the retrogrades this year are all happening and beginning in fire signs. And with that fire sign, again, more fire energy. With fire signs, we have the energy to get things done. And during Mercury retrograde, normally we learn to be mutable like Mercury, learn to go with the flow like Mercury. And yes, there is that. And that's something to remind yourself when you're in sort of the shit of Mercury retrograde. It's like teaching us how to change our mental perspective to make things easier. But sometimes we can be a little loosey-goosey with that. So with these retrogrades, it's really focusing our drive, focusing our energy to actually getting things done. When we have fire, and this is a big fire year, this means action. Now, so I think there will be new companies. I think there will be new ideas. I think there will be new economy growth. Now, overall, one of the wars that were happening and one of the collective changes is around the economy that we're seeing now. And one of the changes that's going to be happening is Pluto now officially in Aquarius for the next, I believe, 22 years. It will be there. And for those of you who don't know, Pluto is the planet of the underworld. It is a collective planet. It's a planet of our shadows. It's a planet of power. It's a planet of strength. And when it's in Aquarius, Aquarius is very new, very innovative. And it usually, if you know an Aquarius person, Aquarius energy loves the underdog and making things fair. That is going to be very important about this energy. So I think we're going to see more of a battle over these next few years, almost like the CEO of the healthcare. Hopefully nobody else getting shot, but people, the collective, the folks like you and I who are average are now wanting answers. You can see the fall down of celebrities. We're no longer idolizing money and wealth and rich. We're realizing like, wait, the majority of us have a fraction of that, and like now nobody is for us. And so we're starting to let go of the illusions we've had in the United States and the corporations and the companies and the celebrities that we've kind of had, honestly, since Neptune was in Pisces back in 2011 when that transit began. And then this summer, Neptune will now move into Aries. And then we're seeing this. I think we're going to see a battle. I think, yes, things will be fair, but not at first. But the underworld, us, your average Joes, are now fighting back. And I think we're going to head to a lot of people wanting more of a minimalist life. There's going to be some interesting shifts.
So basically what you're saying is we've had a lot of changes over the last few years. They're really going to kick up this year and then even kick up even more in like say 26, 27, 28?
Oh, yeah. But sort of the way we wanted. Like I said, in the very first episode you and I have ever done was the Great Awakening, the Great Shakeup. Mm-hmm. And we realized since then, over these last almost 5 years since COVID, of that first Great Shakeup, holy shit, a lot of stuff is not right. The way we've been going about things is no longer right. So we're seeing now this compulsion of people, as things have been breaking because Rome wasn't built in a day. So all of these ideologies and these things that maybe don't fit in our world today are breaking down so we can rebuild. And that doesn't happen in a night. That doesn't happen in a year, especially since so much of our world is so fractured.
You did call it years ago, and wow, you are adding up to that. There are other podcasts that agree with you too. Like, this is the first time I've heard or read, especially online, about this is the time for change. But okay, so how does all this factor in then? You've read about these drones that are flying all over New Jersey here. I've captured them on my live webcam here all the time. What do you think that is?
Well, let me tell you. I'll tell you what I think that is. I believe that is our government. And I'll explain astrology and I'll explain some theories I have. I believe that's our government testing because this is going to be the future of policing. And I actually had said this a couple of years ago, maybe not on this podcast or my podcast, about the future of policing our country when it comes to Pluto moving into Aquarius. So I think they dropped these drones. They wanted to see how we all react as humans, as people, a little bit of a social experiment, because this is going to be the future. One of the things, especially as we become more unruly in general, I mean, people here in the United States, no one fears the law. No one fears anyone anymore. People are fed up because we're all broke and various things like that, like I said, fractured. And so the government, the police, they're like, shit, we got to keep control of these people or there's going to be like revolutions like there is in other countries. So I believe in the futuristic things when it comes to policing our country. And one of those things I believe are the drones. I think it was a test from our own government. They wanted to see how we react and to see what happens with that. But with Pluto and Aquarius, like I said, there's a lot of other things I predict that I've been, and we already started to see it a year ago. Like, I think that they're going to start having the Army Reserves or the reserves police certain cities as things erupt. Just generalized, I think you're going to see more of like a military presence in the United States in the cities. I think you're going to see more of drones. I know I read an article that now Central Park in New York City is going to be using drones, and they're already testing them at night to police the park.
Yeah, definitely the New York Police Department is using drones on the news here. In fact, sometimes they'll even have the drones fly around the community when there's a boil water notice or there's some crazy suspect on the loose. Like, they can blast messages to people in their homes. Yes, the drones are a thing. I saw a drone on my way home from work here tonight before we even decided to get here and record this thing, so they're a common occurrence here. Can we blame this on Mars?
Yeah, you could, because with Mars, there is the over-policing, right? And Mars retrograde actually began in December, but it began in Leo, which was a little bit strong. And you could see that, like, Mars is the police. Mars is the god of war. Mars is those controlling things. And in the sign of Leo, it's the collective, it's the world, it's the ego. So we could definitely blame that on Mars. I feel both. Mars is into play. And Mars was retrograde in Leo when that happened. And then Pluto and Aquarius, new sort of weird technology ways, especially around policing people. Pretty soon, I mean, in these next 20 years, you're not going to be able to sneeze without the government or anyone who can hack without finding you, essentially. We've now created a world where every single thing can be seen or tracked. And it's very futuristic too quickly. It's like the Minority Report, honestly.
Ooh, good. Wow, interesting. Nice pop culture reference there. By the way, you saw how I teed you up with the power reference, bringing it back to Mars. And now we got to ask the question, is Mars the most powerful planet, the most powerful force influencing all this change of what's going on here? Or can we blame it on somebody else? You mentioned Pluto. Or is it Neptune? Is somebody else involved?
Well, I'll tell you the big year for this year. This is a very, very big Mars-like year because so many planets are moving into Aries. Let me tell you what we have happening in Aries, and especially you'll appreciate this seeing that you're in Aries. So we have Mercury, the first retrograde of the year will begin in March in Aries season. Then we have Venus retrograde, which will begin in Aries season. We have Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries this week. And this year. And then we have the final last eclipse in Aries, which is a great eclipse, a solar eclipse happening in Aries. There's a ton of brand new Aries energy. So the big things this year on the collective are going to be Neptune moving into Aries. They're going to be Uranus moving into Gemini. And then, as we know, we now officially have Pluto in Aquarius. That just and it is staying there. It's been bouncing back and forth between Capricorn and Aquarius for like 17 months, between 29 degrees and 0 degrees, but now we're officially here and we're going to be here for many years. So again, this year is going to be kind of otherworldly. I think we're going to be, a lot of wars are going to be happening, honestly. And if you look back, we have an ephemeris that shows where every planet was in the signs for over 10,000 years. So we can go back and I'll find it for you. I don't want to depress everything, but like I said, we're going to see some types of war. Now, it might not be World War III, right? But I think we're going to see, like I had said, we're going to see more of the wars of everything, wars of celebrity, wars against the healthcare companies, wars against, all kinds of things, political wars. We have become so separated and so many ways that it's going to be the shifting of mindsets and the shifting of thoughts. And since we've gotten so quick and so fast in the internet, which I think has been a big culprit of this, we are now so many different places and so many different people, and we're going to see that kind of energy going in all different kinds of directions. Now, I want to bring this up, not to be the bearer of bad news, and I'll tell you the good things that are going to happen for this world. But the last time, remember, Uranus enters Gemini in the later spring. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini was in 1941 to 1945 when we were in World War II. Then in 1861 and 1865 when we had the U.S. Civil War. Then Uranus also entered Gemini in 1774 and to 1782 when we had the American Revolutionary War. And the last time ever Neptune was in Aries was when we began the Civil War of 1861 to 1875. All of that had that, and there's even more dates of history that predate that, is happening this year.
Whoa, okay. So the numbers are starting to add up to, okay, so we should get Lester Holt ready to break into programming about war, because it sounds like something crazy is definitely going to happen, as it already has. It's
now,
a little nuts.
War going to look much more differently than it had those prior times, right? It could be war of hacking. It could be war of bank accounts. It could be, Russia could come in and say, guess what? We're taking everyone's bank account from the United States, or some crazy thing like that. It's going to be more futuristic wars. It's not going to be your traditional, everyone get their shotguns out and we'll just shoot each other and race each other. There's going to be these multi-leveled, very intricate wars, if that makes sense.
Okay, so we got some positive things to look forward to, some negative things to look forward to, I guess, unless you're a war buff, I don't know. But let's change subject and try to go to something positive here, because on your podcast recently, too, you brought up how Neptune can influence your dreams. Dreams are always something positive unless you have nightmares a lot. But how does Neptune influence your dreams, and maybe can we use those dreams to make some kind of different positive thoughts or change, or somehow get yourself into a mindset to prepare for all this mess that's about to come up?
Absolutely, because to tie into one other thing, here's one of the good things I want to add. So we have the world outside of us getting very messy. However, one of the great things that's going to be happening is I think you're going to see a lot of people now switching. You're already seeing Barnes & Noble in our areas coming back. No Wi-Fi cafes. People stopping to watch media. People limiting their social media. So yes, there is this crazy, but I think there's going to be a lot of people waking up, and they're already seeming to say, whoa, the way that the internet, how fast it's come, how much I've let all of this control me and control the way I'm going, there is going to be, I don't want that anymore. So I think as a whole, a lot of people are going to be finding their people and connecting one-on-one in person, because when everything feels out of control, the one thing we can do is control our immediate environment. So I think in one positive way, you're going to see a lot of people, you're going to see a lot of advances in mental health. You're going to, in a great way, you're going to see a lot of people coming together for positive growth, connection again, and acceptance. So in one way, you can have those dreams. You can say, hey, I'm going to stay in this dreamy mindset, crap whatever's happening outside of this world that we cannot control. Like, there are those outside forces, but we as a whole can come together and raise our vibrations. And to tie that back in, the dreams that Neptune has, I mean, not everyone's going to be really dreamy. If you got a Capricorn moon, you're probably not going to dream as much. But if you have a Neptune in Pisces with a Pisces moon, you're probably going to get all kinds of dreams. And with Neptune, its collective planet, it is very mystical and it's very dreamy within that. So it's sort of like we all need to cocoon within our own delusions a little bit and harness that. So in a good way, we're all going to come back to connection, or those that are seeking it. There's going to be those blindly just succumbing to the world as it's happening. But then there's going to be a lot of people who say, hey, I want a new way, or I want to bring back the ways of 1996 again.
Yeah, we want to bring back those Zubaz pants. Yeah.
Yes.
Or starter jackets. I still have mine. But hey, one war humanity did win right now. We beat the murder hornets. Did you see that? Like, that launched like the beginning of this year. That is great now. Well, those things came out during COVID, and now all of a sudden, hey, we beat them. But I like the fact that
I can never tell the difference between a murder hornet or a cicada killer. They look the same.
Damned if I can too, but you know what? I'm not a scientist. But I like this idea of bringing back 1996 because the world was a little bit simpler back then. Sure, maybe we didn't have like the medical advances, but it wasn't so, I don't know, everybody was not so hateful back then. I mean, everybody wanted to work a little bit harder. Hopefully we can maybe go back to the mentality of not that far ago, but far enough where we can go back past all the recent garbage.
Well, two things. One thing, I actually talked about that and have that on my notes. One of the things this year is I think the general collective is going to work harder again. Meaning, like, you know, obviously there's tons of people that work hard, grind. Not that grind hard, but I think as a whole, tying into that loss, there's certain generations that don't want to work. And so this is a year of taking plans and really working towards things. So I actually think a lot of people are going to have a lot of like working energy this year. In a good way. I think you're going to see people wanting to work again. I think you're going to see people having the energy, the desire to work again, and sort of let go, especially as Neptune moves away from Pisces, which is like, I just want to be lost and cushy and not work, and into Aries, which is like, I want to get shit done. I want to work right now. I want to do it.
So of all the questions I asked you now, so we totally have our outlook for 2025. Is there anything I missed that you think we need to bring up to look forward to, whether it's good or bad for this year?
Well, again, like I said this year, I just want to, there's a couple more things that I want to add into this year. Let's talk about personal, one-on-one. Like I said earlier, you cannot control a lot of the outside forces that are happening in this world right now, but you can control yourself. You can control your reaction. You can control how you're going to show up every day in this world. You can show up in the good things that you're going to spread and do, and that is going to be important. And so this year, like I said, starting the first week of March, there's going to be a strong initiative of people to get things done, whether get a new career, get your career path going, light the fire under some exercise, or just like really aligning your life with like a soulful purpose. There's going to be a strong initiative taking off, maybe new relationships. Then in the later fall, everything retrogrades actually back into water for about 3 months. I don't think that that's bad. It's just going to be a little bit of a slowdown to get a new perspective on things. And then in the beginning of 2026, you're going to be full blown into launching whatever you begin this year. So again, this is the year of creating. And another important thing is that we have one last eclipse in Aries, which is a very positive eclipse, a solar eclipse in Aries, closing up the eclipses that we've had for the last 2 years, 18 months to 2 years, bouncing back between Aries and Libra. The nodes have now entered Pisces and Virgo. So now we have eclipses in the mutable signs of Pisces and Virgo. So this is going to be a big year for my mutable placements now that eclipses are happening in these signs. So that's going to be for my Gemini, my Virgo, my Gemini, my Virgo, my Sagittarius, and my Pisces. And Aries placements, this is also going to be a very big year for you guys. And my fixed placements, who have actually had a lot of struggles these last two to 3 years, that would be my Taurus, my Leos, my Scorpios, my Aquarius. You guys are going to like be in the back seat right now. You guys are getting some chill things. And this is a big growing year for Aries, especially I want to say Aries, Virgo, and Pisces placements. This is a very big growth year.
Yeah, Aries. All right. Yeah, that's the sign you want to be. right, well, Colleen, so where can everybody find your podcast at each week?
The Weekly Awakening podcast. It is available across all podcast streaming systems, whatever you use. It's just The Weekly Awakening podcast. I'm Cosmic Colleen. Same on social media. Across the board, you can find me there every week.
I listen to you on iHeartRadio. That's where I found you.
Oh, you do? Yes, iHeartRadio. Yes, there's the iHeartRadio. I think Podbean, YouTube, Spotify. I think Apple iTunes. All of those, I'm on there.
So you're pretty much all over the internet. Great. Hey, why not? That's the way to be found. But Colleen, thanks for all the great readings once again and for all your great advice. Man, our half hour went by like nothing. That was pretty quick.
Yeah, it did. It went back really quick. I feel like, did I even answer anything?
Yeah, you slammed us with about 4 hours worth of information in 30 minutes. You're going to need to like go back and rewind some of this, like take some notes to break it apart. There's a lot going on, but we know we got a lot of changes, whether positive, negative, coming up this year. A lot of changes, and we're already off to a start. I mean, it's just January.
Crazy.
It is crazy. All right, Colleen, once again, thanks for being on the big show here. And if you want to see more, click on the like, subscribe button for all the fun here on the Big Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. 4 big shows waiting for you every week. And I hope you'll stick around and enjoy all the changes with this year coming up, spiritually, globally, mentally, and in the stars. All right, Jersey Joe and her friend here saying thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time, I hope.